Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. Today we're going to be talking about an altcoin that I'm going to be loading up on during this bear market, ready for the next bull market in the cryptocurrency space. And that altcoin is, of course, Polkadot, as you can see behind me. You know, why is it that I am going to be buying aggressively this altcoin? We're going to talk about that in this video. What I'm going to do is explain to you what Polkadot is, and in doing that, really explain the revolutionary properties that Polkadot brings to the blockchain space. Polkadot is termed a layer 0 blockchain, and we're going to be getting into what that means, because this term is very, very new for many of you out there. It's still new for me, as it's a new concept of a layer 0 blockchain. We have layer 1 blockchains like Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, which allow people to deploy dApps. We also have layer 2s like Polygon, Arbitrum, and a number of other layer 2s out there. But a layer 0 essentially allows you to build your own blockchain instead of a dApp. So you want to think of Polkadot in the future having an ecosystem that within that ecosystem has the likes of Solana, Ethereum, and Cardano sort of natives, or not natives, sorry, style smart contract platforms built on top of it, but they're their own blockchain. Many people don't know this, and I don't know why there's such a beef between the Polkadot and Cosmos community. To me, they're both trying to do and fulfill a similar thing with interoperability. And with this kind of layer 0 model. But many people don't know that Luna, we all remember Luna, how could we forget it? It's a part of the cryptocurrency market's history, was built on top of Cosmos, which is another layer 0. This is what I think the future looks like. I think people are going to opt to build, certainly if it's easy enough to do so, their own blockchains that can be case specific rather than building a dApp, because there's a million and one benefits to it. And so far, Polkadot, there's an argument about Avalanche maybe doing it, and Cosmos are the two blockchains that are really pushing this idea of layer 0. So let's get into it. What we're going to do as well is we are going to talk about the price. I think Polkadot's going above and beyond all-time highs eventually. That's a huge return given the fact that it's at $7.50. Again, we aren't buying here. We have lower forecasts for the crypto market. Anybody that's interested in joining my Patreon to find out a little bit more about that, what altcoins are on our list, and so on and so forth, feel free to check the link out in the description. No obligations to join. It is a community of people who are willing to be there. But we will talk about the price. So let's just really kick things off. Then we'll look at the Polkadot ecosystem. I have got some criticisms. It's not really criticisms. It's more to do with the fact that it's still very early in its development, Polkadot, in regards to its ecosystem. I don't think they've got an amazing wallet for their applications. And I do think the ecosystem, it's not as vibrant and as sort of vibrant is probably the only word I should attach to it as other ecosystems. But it will get there, in my opinion. And again, I think one of the reasons for Polkadot's success is really this kind of layer 0 consensus, this layer 0 model that they're kind of, or layer 0 approach that they're kind of championing. We'll also talk about a little bit of the news in relation to Polkadot and look at their ecosystem. So let's kick things off straight away. Polkadot is currently 10th in terms of market cap. It's currently sat at $7.54. Polkadot. So what is Polkadot? Polkadot is the multi-chain vision for Web3, and it starts here. Polkadot unites and secures a growing ecosystem of specialized blockchains called parachains. It's the equivalent of a dApp, but it's its own blockchain in regards to layer 1 smart contracts. Apps and services on Polkadot can securely communicate across chains, forming the basis for a truly interoperable, decentralized web. Revolutionary feature here is that, so if you had ETH, Cardano, Solana, whatever blockchain it may be, layer 1 blockchain, Harmony, built on top of Polkadot or utilizing Polkadot security and throughput and scalability, essentially those chains wouldn't need bridges to them, because you can interoperate through just being built on Polkadot through their sort of cross border messaging service. So this is really revolutionary and kind of connects things inherently when you build on top of it. And we will dive into the Polkadot ecosystem. So it's a truly interoperable. We'll move on to a little bit about the technology. A scalable, interoperable, and secure network protocol for the next web. This is essentially a visual representation of how Polkadot works. Polkadot is the inner ring where you can see all these kind of pink lines, these pink symmetrical lines. Around the outside, you have the parachains all connected to the relay chain, which is Polkadot. Really, what Polkadot does is it doesn't inherently have smart contract functionalities, but what it does have is all the core principles of a blockchain that you can then build your own blockchain on top of. I'm really repeating myself here to try and get this kind of message through over layer 0 on what it is. It essentially allows you to build your own blockchain, but take the security from the underlying consensus mechanism that Polkadot offers, which of course is proof of stake, and essentially the throughput and scalability that it offers with the security. So it solves part of the kind of blockchain equation for you and just allows you through a set of development tools, its substrate in regards to Polkadot. They also use Rust as well. It essentially allows you to build whatever you want. And then not only do you, once you have your blockchain, you can then interoperate with all the other blockchains, like dApps can sort of interoperate with one another within that ecosystem. So connecting the dots, you've got the relay chain, which of course we're talking about in regards to Polkadot. The heart of Polkadot, responsible for the network's shared security, consensus, and cross-chain interoperability. Also provides the sort of interoperability in terms of communication between these blockchains. You got the parachains, which are sovereign blockchains that can have their own token and optimize their functionality for specific use cases. You also have parathreads. We don't see any parathreads yet on Polkadot because, of course, it's still very early on in this kind of layer 0 development, but similar to parachains, but with a pay-as-you-go model. So people can essentially try this out. More economical for blockchains that don't need continuous connectivity to the network. And then, of course, you've got bridges, which you can see highlighted here, which will essentially bring other ecosystems like Ethereum, like Cardano, like Solana, like Harmony, whatever it may be, Thorchain, which is an SDK, a Cosmos SDK itself, and also Cosmos within. Through bridges, you'll essentially bridge other networks. And once that bridge has been secured, they can interoperate with everything within the Polkadot ecosystem. So this is super cool, guys. So for me, I love to see something different, which is why I'm actually becoming such a fan. And we're going to turn people into DOT holders, and we're going to turn them into Cosmos holders, which is why I'm such a fan of this layer 0 concept. I've watched the evolution of the crypto space. You had Bitcoin, you had Ethereum. They came along and said, okay, let's take the underlying consensus mechanism and add and use it for smart contract validation. And then you've got the likes of these people trying to improve on Ethereum. So Cardano, I would call a third generation. And I'd also call Polkadot and Cosmos that are doing this kind of smart contracts, proof of stake sort of vision, essentially. And it talks about the governance role. We'll scroll down to something and why you would want to build on Polkadot. So you've got a better security model in both proof of work and proof of stake systems. Blockchains compete with each other over resources to secure their networks, and blockchains are easily attacked until they develop a significant community to support their network. Polkadot takes a different approach by letting blockchains pool their security, which means that the blockchain security is aggregated and applied to all. So it's this kind of stronger together mentality. By connecting to Polkadot, blockchain developers can secure their blockchain from day one. So people no longer have to come up with a whole consensus mechanism to secure their blockchain. They can use Polkadot. They can basically forget about the back end of a blockchain. To a degree, of course, they've got to stay vigilant and kind of make sure that it's applicable. But they can essentially just deploy on Polkadot, and the consensus mechanism is taken care of. That's a big part of a blockchain. It's the heart of the blockchain. The heart of Bitcoin is its consensus proof of work mechanism. Without it, it is nothing. Just like these proof of stake smart contract blockchains. So you've got XCM, a secure cross-chain communication standard. So this is going to allow these blockchains within the Polkadot ecosystem to connect to one another. For blockchains to work together and form the basis of Web3, they need common language for communication. Polkadot sets the standard with XCM, a cross-consensus communication format and programming language that allows all blockchains of different design to securely exchange arbitrary data, code, and value. In this way, a new wave of rich cross-chain applications and services can be built that tap into the features and benefits. So again, talking about the fact that Luna was built on top of, Luna got to top 10 cryptocurrency. You're going to have multiple Luna-ish chains building on top of both Polkadot and Cosmos. and they're going to be able to interact with one another, creating this kind of like super ecosystem. They're all going to have their own ecosystems, and then they're going to have, you know, Polkadot kind of combining them all. And you need Polkadot to secure everything. You need Polkadot to actually even get a slot, because Polkadot do these things called auctions, candlestick auctions. And that's how you get, not anybody can just have a slot on Polkadot and build on it and have their own blockchain. You need to win a parachain auction. So far across Kusama and Polkadot, Kusama is something else that we'll touch on, maybe do its own video. You have around about 45, and I think there's not many on Polkadot parachains. So it's still very, very early, but it's very interesting to see how this kind of unfolds. Transparent on-chain governance. So you need DOT, of course, for the governance, but then within these, because these blockchains that are building on top of Polkadot, they'll have their own governance consensus. So you have an on-chain treasury for decentralized project funding that has a funding mechanism, and you have a Grandpa, a trustworthy consensus algorithm. So Polkadot uses its original Grandpa ghost-based recursive ancestor driving prefix agreement consensus for a more secure and reliable network. Super interesting, guys. You know, we're really just trying to get this project on everyone's radar. Go and give Polkadot a follow on Twitter. You know, this was a tweet that I was actually just reading before I made this video, talking about all the amazing things that are happening within the Polkadot ecosystem. Remember, it is still a very, very new project and has a long way to go, in my opinion. But I think this concept of layer zero is really going to take over the blockchain space, and I actually align very much with layer zero. You can see these are all the parachains that have launched so far. This is a cross, I believe, both Kusama and Polkadot. We'll do a full video on Kusama. You can see the sort of total value locked within Polkadot is currently nearly $14 billion. Polkadot only has a market cap of 8.4, but remember that's across Kusama. So this ecosystem is still very new and has a long way to go. But really, for me, I think this whole concept of a layer zero blockchain is revolutionary, allowing people basically these guys are almost like security services, and they allow people to build on top of them. But you need the DOT, you need the Cosmos to secure everything, and there are inflationary models. In regards to price, couldn't really tell you how low it's going to go. I think we've got new lows coming across the board for the cryptocurrency space. But even if you were to buy today, just going back to where it was, as 627%. Do I think in 5 years' time, Polkadot's going to be worth more than it is today? Absolutely, I do. But again, I want to stress this. I'm not telling anybody to do anything that I'm not. I am not buying Polkadot yet. I'm not buying any cryptos yet. But moving forwards, we certainly will be. But it's timing that opportunity that we've got to kind of get right moving forwards. So that's really all I've got for you. Very interesting project. It didn't really launch until kind of into the bull market last year. Or not last year, sorry. Kind of launched into the bull market, so it didn't really have time to pick its feet up. It's still a very new blockchain in opposition with many of these other smart contract layer ones and layer twos, in fact. Or sorry, mainly layer ones. But I think it's got a long way to go and is going to do very well in the long term. Let me know your thoughts on Polkadot in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on a layer zero blockchain and this whole kind of concept of allowing people to build their own blockchains, but you doing the kind of back end work and charging for that. And I look forward to seeing each and every one of you in the next YouTube video. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed this one. If you have, like us, appreciate it. So as a comment. See you in the next one.